So I'm going to talk a little bit about colour correcting, and this is on also my updated foundation tutorial. Now colour correcting is all to do with the colour wheel, and if you've ever done any higher education in art and design, or if you've done a beauty qualification, then you'll probably know about colour correcting and the colour wheel already. But basically the colour wheel in art terms, if you mix the opposite colours together, so for example if you mix red and green paint together, it'll come out a truer black than if you just use black paint. So art teachers will always tell you, instead of just using black paint, to mix two opposite colours together. So for example, the most obvious colour correction that you'll need to use on your face is under eye circles, which tend to be a bluey purpley colour, and redness. And redness can be like just around your nose, on your cheeks, anywhere, or like pimples. So you can also, if you have like a yellowy green bruise, you can use that in colour correction as well. But for under eye circles, it is recommended that you use a peachy yellow based concealer. That will counterbalance the blue purple. And then if you have lots of red, you want to use a green based concealer, and that will cancel out the red. You want to put these colours underneath your foundation, so you want to put them first and then do your foundation so that it hides the green or the peachy tint. Also, I don't use like any green concealer because I do a slight redness, but I find that just with my foundation it covers it fine. So you want to start off with a moisturiser, and I have already moisturised my face. I did it before I did my eye makeup, just so it gives it a bit of time for your face to really absorb the moisture. If you're going to be putting a foundation on top and you haven't got really dry skin, I would recommend not using an oil-based moisturiser, because using an oil-based moisturiser may make your makeup rub off easily or go into any little lines you might have. A primer. Now, you can get primers for every different skin type, so you have to sort of shop around a bit and see which one would be the best for your particular face type. Now, you can put it all over your face and it'll give like a base for your foundation, but I find that my moisturiser gives me a good enough base anyways, and I just put this anywhere where my makeup might crease more or any dry places that I have. And my driest and most creasy places is right under my eyes. And bases like primers with silicone in can be good if you have small lines, because it really gives like a film over the top of it, so your makeup doesn't go into them lines and look really cakey. This one actually doesn't have silicone in, but I find that it works almost as well as a silicone based one. So I just put a little bit of this right under my eyes, where my makeup tends to get slightly cakey. So it's just very sort of watery, very light makeup. So I'm just going to swipe and then dab that right under my eyes. And then I take my foundation, and it's important to get a foundation that matches your skin tone. If you do want to just have a bit more sort of tanned look on your face, then it's better to go back with bronzer, because if you put a foundation that's too dark for you, you'll have a line all around your head line. You'll see where like your pattern starts, and it'll be just completely different colour. And then even if you blend it down your neck, you'll still have like two completely different colours. So you want a foundation that's your skin type. You can also get foundation that's good for dry skin, good for oily skin. So you really need to get the foundation that suits your skin the most. You can also get different finishes in foundation, so you can get matte or like more of a dewy, shiny foundation. So it's completely up to you which one you get, but you have to shop around and see which one you like the best. I've got a few reviews on foundations, so you can check that out. So I use a liquid foundation, and I always give it a shake. Any liquid products, give a shake, because if the different ingredients can separate, so you just want to make sure it's all nicely mixed up. And then I just get, now you don't want to put too much of this on, and you don't want to put too little. So I just use about a slightly smaller pea size amount, and I just put 2 blobs of that on my face. You don't want to absolutely cake foundation on, because foundation is meant to be a foundation for your skin, like a base. And if you need to correct anything, you can go in with a concealer before or after. But it just evens your skin tone out, and it can cancel out any slight discoloration you've got. So I just get that, and I use my fingers. You can use a foundation brush if you want. There's different sorts. It's just entirely up to you really how you prefer to do it. But I found this particular foundation, your fingers works just as well as anything. And then you want to make sure it's blended right into your hairline, even if it's the same colour, and your neckline. You want this to be a flawless look. You don't want it patchy or anything. And then I just dab it under my eyes, just a little bit. Just like that. And already you can see that my nose is a lot more discoloured than my cheeks were. So then I get a smaller, just a tiny little bit on my finger, and I put that on my nose, and I just rub it down. I mean, you can apply your foundation any way you want. It's just, for me, this is the way that works the best. You just want to put a little bit on your chin, just to get any discoloration there. Or if you had a bit too much on your cheeks before, you could have blended it over. I just do that. And then I tend not to put anything on my head. My head hasn't really got any discoloration or blemishes or anything. And I've got my fringe, which covers the majority of my head anyways. And then this is where you want to go in with a concealer. Now, this is where I go in with a concealer. And I prefer cream concealers rather than the really liquidy ones, because I find that liquid ones tend to dry a bit cakey. I mean, there's obviously exceptions. Now with concealers, if you've got dark under eye circles, then you might want a concealer that's slightly peachy based, like this one, which is the one I use. But it still matches my skin tone pretty well, it's just slightly peachier. So yeah, and then, or under your eyes, you should either use a peachy one to cancel out dark circles, or one that's slightly lighter than your skin tone, just because when you put that under your eyes, it'll really brighten your eyes up and make you look more awake. And then any on your face, you want to either use a one lighter, the correct colour for colour correcting, or the same colour. And then if it's a different colour, if it's lighter or a colour for colour correcting, then you want to put it on underneath your foundation.